Paddy Pimblett would submit Khabib, said only someone on Twitter. Welcome back to the series, guys. I did a video like this kind of before where I broke down the dumbest MMA tweets out there, and I'm gonna break them down. I'm gonna rate them on how dumb they are, if there's even an argument to them. I just picked a few. I didn't want to make this video too long. There wasn't much news, so I decided to change it up, do something a little different. Happy New Year's, guys. Happy 2023. I'm trying to smash this 2023, trying to get the channel to new heights, working on some things behind the scenes, working on the set, working on everything, and 2023 is gonna be a crazy year, I think, for the channel. Almost 9,000 of you. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for the support. You know what? I'm trying to hit 20k by the end of the year. Let's try to get 20k by December 31st, 2023. And man, I'm just excited for the year. So I don't want to waste any more time, but let's get into the video. Before we get into the dumb tweets, I just want to say, as I said in my last video, I want to give a shout out to MMA dumb tweets, because although I didn't use every single thing that he posted, I'm not even sure if I used anything that he posted. I looked up his mentions, and I do want to give him credit because the guy actually does have a funny page, and I follow it, where people tag him in dumb tweets and he basically reposts them. If it wasn't for him, this video would be a million times harder, so I want to give a shout out. I'm going to leave it in the description. I would suggest you give him a follow. I feel bad even not mentioning him because using his @ was just a vital part in the video, and make sure you go check it out because you'll see a lot of dumb tweets there too. And yeah, let's get into this. Adrian Yanez is the Paddy Pimblett of the bantamweight division. A lot of hype behind him, but he ain't that good. UFC won't be able to protect him for long. So obviously Adrian Yanez is now set to fight Rob Font. I'm not sure if this tweet was after the announcement or before the announcement. Adrian Yanez is coming off of his win in Austin, Texas, and the guy that he beat's not even in the UFC anymore. He got cut. So obviously jumping from that to Rob Font is a huge matchup, and there's going to be a lot of questions answered. Now, to relate Paddy and Yanez is just plain disrespectful in my opinion, because at least Adrian Yanez has basic defensive knowledge. I'm just kidding, Paddy fans. Let's calm down. You know, I don't mean to be that blunt, but it's true. Adrian Yanez, I think, is someone that will definitely be at the top of the bantamweight division, and someone that I think a lot of people wanted to see fight Sean O'Malley when they were both not ranked. But that's a very risky fight for Sean O'Malley, and I think a very risky fight for a lot of the strikers. To rate this tweet on a scale to 1 to dumb, I'm gonna go just dumb. This isn't like absurdly dumb, because at the end of the day it is just, and we have not seen Adrian Yanez tested, so who knows, maybe this person is right, but to me right now it's not very evident that it is. Next tweet. What's next for Charles Oliveira? I say Bellator. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big Charles Oliveira fan, so when I see any Charles Oliveira hate, I don't take that lightly. Look, I don't think I need to explain this to anybody with a brain, but if I do, you know, Charles Oliveira was just coming off of something like a 12-fight win streak, has the most submissions in UFC history, has beaten top lightweights like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, you name it. And he lost to Islam Makhachev, which obviously Islam is very good, and it was a very dominant win from Islam. But to say that now he needs to go to Bellator is absolutely ridiculous. Like, come on. I feel embarrassed to even have to break this down. On a scale to 1 to dumb, this is extremely brainless dumb. And next tweet, another picture. Leon really saved Jan, and it's a picture of Jan Blachowicz and Kamaru Usman. Obviously, Usman has come out and say, hey, this is my plan. Beat Leon, win the 205 belt, defend the 205 belt, come back down to 170, fight Hamza, and retire. And I don't think it's totally absurd to say, okay, Usman can't beat Jan. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I don't think it's totally dumb. So it is a little dumb to say that Leon saved him. That is a bit of a stretch. So on a scale to 1 to dumb, I'm gonna have to give this a light dumb, you know, a little light dumb, because this is I could kind of see what you mean. I wouldn't be so certain that Usman would destroy Jan Blachowicz, but I'm not going to sit here and confidently say that Jan would destroy Usman. I don't think anybody can. However, if I were to take a guess, I'd probably have to go with Jan. Next tweet is about Conor McGregor. Someone tweeted, you have no idea. Logan isn't a better boxer than Conor and will never be. Logan wrestled for a bit in high school, which doesn't mean shit. Conor can do whatever he wants with him on the ground. He's 100% not quicker than Conor. I don't give a fuck about endurance. Someone replies, he's far quicker than Conor. It's not even close. Logan was a high-level wrestler and is much better at boxing than McGregor. You're a 14-year-old kid who's never had a fight in your life. Get off my page. So where do we go from here? I actually underratedly think that the original tweet was actually a little dumb, just because to say that Conor can do whatever he wants with Logan on the ground is a little bit of an exaggeration. I mean, we saw Logan wrestle with Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa's huge, and Logan was doing all right, and Logan obviously is in the WWE and has his own athletic abilities in the wrestling world. So I wouldn't go out and say, yeah, Conor would dominate him or anything like that on the ground. In the striking department, however, I mean, obviously Logan is a lot bigger. Logan has underrated defense. The offense is where he has a lot of problems, in my opinion. Actually, I shouldn't even say that he has good defense, because he honestly doesn't have good defense either. Logan, in my opinion, is a very average boxer. I don't think he has what it takes. I think he should stick with the wrestling or go to MMA or something like that, but I just think the pure boxing, I don't know what it is. He always just resists. He always doesn't go for it. You know, you saw with that fight with KSI. And Conor is so underrated in boxing. I mean, people disrespect Conor in the conversation of best boxer in the UFC. Personally, I think it's Dustin. We saw Dustin fuck up Conor in the boxing in their fight. Of course, that wasn't pure boxing. Of course, the leg kicks had something to do with it too. But when you're looking at guys like Jake Paul destroy Tyron Woodley, and Jake Paul isn't a top tier boxer, you have to be kind of impressed when you see Conor McGregor do pretty well against Floyd in those first few rounds. People don't talk about that enough, you know, and Conor just gets disrespect all around, in my opinion, with the MMA community, and I get it because Conor does talk shit, and when you talk shit and don't back it up, you're gonna get clowned, and that's the risk of talking shit. This is pretty dumb, because it's not super dumb, because of course Logan could always land a shot. You never know. Conor slips on a banana peel, gets caught by Logan, maybe then Logan wins, so it's pretty dumb. Alright, this next one is a reaction to Corey Sandhagen, Marlon Vera. Corey's washed. He's losing. Funny part is, I already kind of defended this in my Corey Sandhagen, Marlon Vera video where I broke down the fight and the announcement. But yes, I know people are going to look at Corey's record and say, oh, he's washed. He's lost this and this in his last 5 or whatever. But you don't understand, Corey has lost to Aljamain Sterling, which is the champ, Jan on short notice, and a razor close decision against TJ Dillashaw. Corey, by no stretch of the imagination, is washed. He's a guy that I always say is he adapts, and I really like that about a fighter, when they adapt and they change up things in their camp and they work on things that are in, and they work on things that are holes in their game. And I think that's what makes a fighter, because as a striker like Corey, I'm sure he doesn't want to go in there and wrestle all day and practice wrestling. I'm sure he wants to do what he loves, which is striking. But it takes a new level of discipline to work on that wrestling, work on the jiu-jitsu when you just want to strike, because you have to work on that if you don't want to get dominated in every fight. So Corey is not washed at all. This is very dumb. Another Conor McGregor boxing tweet. Conor and KSI were going back and forth on Twitter, because obviously KSI is fighting his sparring partner. The reply says, maddest thing is KSI probably beats McGregor in a boxing match. So you know how I was just shitting on Logan for being a bad boxer? Times that by like 1,000,000, and I'm talking about KSI. I'm actually not a KSI hater. I actually do like KSI, but when I watched his last performance, and this was years of him working on his boxing and improving, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way he beat Jake Paul. And the thing is, Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor is a little bit interesting, or Logan Paul and Conor McGregor is a little bit interesting, because there is that big weight disadvantage. But KSI is fighting at like 175, 177. We've seen Conor fight at 170, and he is looking big these days. And if that's the case, Conor is doing whatever he wants with KSI. There is no way that he beats KSI. This is literally the definition of extremely dumb, mindless. Final tweet of the day, and the title of this video: Khabib is a fraud. No one in the MMA community actually respects Khabib. If Tony Ferguson fought Khabib in his prime, Khabib would literally be dead. MMA has evolved so much that even Paddy Pimblett could tap Khabib. So let's break this down one by one before we get to the final sentence. Khabib is a fraud. No one respects him. First of all, I am a guy that questions Khabib's legacy a lot, and I've said this sometimes on the channel. I know he has a very dedicated fan base, him in Islam, so I don't mean to piss off anybody, but it's the truth. You know, you'd be lying to yourself to say if there wasn't any questions. Compare his resumes to people like Anderson Silva, John Jones, assuming you're excluding the steroid use and the PED use, you gotta question his legacy. So I wouldn't say the words fraud and no one respects him, because he probably is the greatest lightweight of all time, and I have a lot of respect for Khabib and how he fights. He does finish fights. He is very impressive. But okay, fine, we'll talk. We'll that's a little excusable. I think it's a bit of an exaggeration, but let's excuse that. Next thing, Tony Ferguson easily beats Khabib in his prime. Obviously, that was a fight that was meant to happen literally like 1,000,000 times, and obviously it's a little bit of an interesting style, because look, Tony Ferguson does have good jiu-jitsu, and Khabib has his wrestling, and Tony isn't a guy that's going to be so uncomfortable on the ground, because Khabib's title defenses were really against guys that were bad on the ground. I mean, you got to see him against a grappler in his title reign, and this would have been the closest thing to it, because Tony Ferguson is a guy that mixes his up. Now, in my opinion, could Tony have beaten him in his prime? Personally, I'm always going to choose wrestling over jiu-jitsu. I do like to watch jiu-jitsu, obviously, more than wrestling. I think most people do, but sadly, jiu-jitsu isn't the best base for MMA. Wrestling is, and wrestling is always going to win if you can just land on that half guard position or side control position, and you're going to be able to avoid most of the submissions. But even there, okay, look, there are some people that say, hey, prime Tony Ferguson might actually be Khabib, and that was a conversation literally less than 3 years ago. Then we get to the good part. MMA has evolved so much that even Paddy Pimblett himself could submit Khabib Nurmagomedov. Keep in mind, Paddy wasn't even able to submit Jared Gordon, but I guess Jared Gordon is now the GOAT of the lightweights, because he avoided Paddy the Baddy. Amazing jiu-jitsu that would have submitted John Jones, Anderson Silva, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Jose Aldo, Demetrius Johnson, all on the same night. Obviously, I'm kidding. You know, this is now where you've lost me completely. All right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt in the first part. This is where it becomes extremely mindless. Probably the dumbest tweet of the whole episode. Sometimes, guys, you gotta really wonder, what are these guys thinking? Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to check out my first video, I'm gonna leave it in the screen. You guys go check it out. And if this is something you guys want to say some more, comment below. You know, I didn't have any news today to really talk about, so I wanted to try something new. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.